Hi there, my name is Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is Thursday, August the 5th, and I've got a very special guest with me today. A bit of a backstory first. About 2 years ago, I purchased and reviewed the JBL EON Compact. I'm always looking for small battery-powered portable amplification because I live in New York City and take the subway at times, and so I find that to be something I'm always on the lookout for. Those videos did really well, and actually a lot of my friends and colleagues use those now as well and really love them. So recently JBL reached out to me and said they're releasing the PRX One, and we chatted a bit at the NAMM show, and I just released a video on it. I've got some questions about it already from some viewers' comments, some questions of my own, and if you're watching today in the chat, please feel free to ask your questions as well about the JBL PRX One. But right now, let's introduce my guest for today. This is Brandon. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking. And thanks for being here. This is great.
No problem. I'm like yourself, an avid gearhead, so love talking about the gear. And you know, this one's a little bit near and dear to my heart as I took over the product manager job about 2 years ago, and this is my first front to back product that I ideated all the way through and have got to launch. So this product's got a bit of a special place in my heart, if you will.
Yeah, before we get into the nitty gritty of what this is and the questions from the viewers, can we just start by getting to know you a bit better? Where are you from? What instruments do you play? And how did you start working at JBL?
Yeah, so you know, as you said, I'm a lifelong musician. I started playing the bass at about age 12. You know, when I joined my band, we were all a bunch of young, dumb kids, and nobody really knew how to hook up a PA. So somebody had to figure it out, and that was essentially my first foray into learning how to manage PA speakers. From there, you know, I played in bands my whole life. My bands were some found some pretty early success. I'm based out of Los Angeles and have been my whole life. And you know, my bands were playing all the Sunset Strip clubs at 16. You know, and then so being a musician was kind of always a passion for me. And then I discovered recording and live sound and kind of went to down the path where I went to a traditional trade school for recording. I went and started running live sound on the side and ended up doing it, you know, semi-professionally from that point in time. And so, you know, the big thing for me coming to JBL, I cut my teeth at Guitar Center. I worked both as a salesperson and a store manager, and also at the corporate office doing, you know, educational type stuff. But what I've really moved over to JBL, I kind of was a jack of all trades and saw this loudspeaker product manager role was open. And I've always had an interest in loudspeakers. JBL was the first studio monitors I ever owned. They were the first PA speakers I ever owned. And so it made sense to kind of jump into it. You know, again, I'm a big gearhead. So that's kind of where the process lied, and been in the role now for 2 years. You know, started with the EON One Compact project, which you're very familiar with at this current point in time. Launched a few other projects, and now just running full speed, trying to keep the momentum.
So just to clarify, was the Compact made under your supervision, or when did you enter that project?
I took that project over about a quarter of the way through. So we had some things decided, like the industrial design, but I took it over and validated the acoustics, all the DSP, the app control, and so basically took it over from that stage. Really, at that point in time, we had the industrial design finalized, and we knew what our development path looked like, but none of the other intricate features were decided or validated, and that's when I took over the EON One project, or the EON One Compact project.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that today, but I want to really focus on the PRX One. So before I go to the chat, can you just give me the elevator pitch? What is the JBL PRX One?
So JBL PRX One is an all-in-one column PA, and really we wanted to solve for a few things. A lot of these column style or stick style PAs have acoustic challenges. You know, whenever you're stacking transducers on top of each other, you get into problems with frequency cancellation, phase issues off axis called lobing, and things of that nature. So we really wanted to, you know, we are JBL, we're a transducer company, so our primary focus to start was the acoustic package, and really making sure that we can make a product that sounded great at any volume and really fit the needs of a more professional space. In addition to that, we have our EON One and EON One Pro projects, which kind of have a little bit of commonality in regards to their features. But so we wanted to make something that was a very clear step up from that, something that was very professional grade, capable of maybe mid-size events. But also we wanted to provide something that leverages our expertise as Harman as a whole. We're one of the only companies that exists that really offer true input to output solutions. And so it makes sense when you're designing a mixer to have the mixer product manager as a stakeholder, and really have a software project manager as a stakeholder, and start having all of these collaborative efforts to help us get out the most complete product that we can. So, we just wanted to solve for some of the issues that I and my teammates and colleagues have seen in the field, and make sure that as we're building these products and projects out, they're not just one-trick ponies. They're something that has a lot of versatility, can be used in multiple scenarios, and isn't something that's limited by way of the features that are provided.
Right. Sounds good. I'll just say hi to the chat here. Bern Smith's watching from England. Interested to hear more about the PRX One. Rosanna says hi. Happy Thursday. Hope you're having a great week. Yes, I am. Hope you are too, Rosanna. And David Belcher's here. Good afternoon. Compact top speaker and say... Oh, I'm going to mark the questions to come to later. I'm just going to say hi. All right, I'll get back to you in a second.
Yeah.
Good morning, Aaron, Brandon, all in the chat from Warren. Yeah, ask the questions. I'll star them here, and then we'll do the Q&A in the second part.
Yeah, we've got some time. Let some other folks who may be straggling a little bit join, because I want to make sure we answer as many potential issues as we can.
Well, this is great, because when I did the compact videos, I didn't know you. And to me, I didn't know anyone I didn't really have a face to put to JBL. So this is really cool, because I just did the video and people would ask me questions. They still ask me questions now. And so sometimes I send them to you. Sometimes I know them. Sometimes I send them to you. So it's really great that we have this platform now to talk about the product with the person that actually designed it and made it happen. That's great.
I agree. And there are some questions that I may not have the answers to, dependent on the technicality of them. High level engineering specs and stuff like that, I might not have the answer to. But I like I said, I know these products pretty well, and can very, very well talk to them, and at least start to navigate through some of the questions that people may have as the product starts to hit dealers in the United States over the coming next week to 2 weeks or so.
My buddy Kooky is here from the Acoustic Guitar Forum. He didn't even say hello to us. He just went straight in with four questions.
Straight to questions. You got to respect the hustle there. No time for pleasantries. Let's just get down to business. I like it.
And Brad Bradstock says hi. Good to see you, Brad. All right, I've started some questions. I've got some questions from the video I posted the other day, and I've got we'll then go into the live questions. And I did notice that JBL released a kind of Zoom call product intro, and you today released a video about the product. So I advise you, once we're done here, to go and watch those two videos, because they're really good. They really answer a lot of the sort of overall questions about what this is and how this works. But then today we'll do more kind of specific questions as well. Okay. A fifth question from Kooky. We'll get there, Kooky. All right. First of all, this might sound like a silly question, but I was looking at different products that JBL make. There's so many, right? I used to use the small, like rechargeable speaker for like music classes and things like that. But I was looking through like PRX and all these different, all the different nomenclature they have. Can you explain a bit about that? Is there?
Sure.
What do they mean?
So obviously JBL is a very large company, and we have two primary segments of customers that we service. The headphones and the little portable Bluetooth speakers and stuff are our lifestyle division or consumer audio division, and they're separate from what division we're in, which is the professional side. So we deal more with speakers. When I say professional, I like to refer to it as speakers that make somebody, usually the person using them, money in some way or shape or form. So JBL serves the needs of everybody from a PA, portable PA perspective, all the way up to tour audio and stadium audio. You'll find us in everywhere from theme parks to the Staples Center, football stadiums, things of that nature. So it is a very large company, large segment of the Harman portfolio overall. But when you're looking at the portable PA side exclusively, which I manage, we kind of have 4 product segments overall, and we try to focus those segments based on price points, knowledge level, and kind of use case. And so, we have our IRX series, which we just launched last year, which is really geared towards an entry-level customer. It doesn't have a lot by way of DSP, but it's a really great sound and speaker, and it's got a very attractive price point. So we really wanted to make it so people can get into a name brand speaker, under $400, and a name that they can trust. Because a lot of those speakers under that $400 price point are house brands or other brands that may not have the reputation as JBL. And then you move into our EON line, which is really what I would call our good line. Professional feature sets, things that the professional customers may love, but also easy to use, still in that low cost price band where you're not paying $4,000 for a full system, but just really powerful in that regard. And then as you move up, our PRX would be our quote unquote better brand. Much more by way of professional grade features, full ability to rig or fly the speakers, much more headroom for larger applications. And then our best line from the portable PA side is our SRX line, and that's our truly professional networked control using Ethernet, just high-end systems. But you're also talking about systems that to put together are going to cost $10,000 or more. Over that price point, you're starting to get into things that are like our tour stuff and our line array stuff. And while that stuff is great, it's not affordable. It's not a practical solution for the rank and file musician that's out there. And so you'll see some of the biggest tours that have JBL line array and tour stuff and our tour grade products. But for the sake of argument today, we just focus on the portable PA side, which is what I manage and am intimately familiar with. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an understanding of how we view our product segments, so that you, as you're navigating all of our product lines, you can kind of understand a little bit better about our motivations in each segment.
Yeah, I just suddenly thought today, I don't know what JBL or PRX stand for, but JBL is the initials of the original.
Correct.
Creator,
yeah,
right?
the founder of the company.
Founder.
Those were where the JBL came from. PRX is it doesn't really mean anything. Just a marketing name that we use to segment out our lines. It's that's sake of argument. It's kind of like Fishman Loudbox. Like they have many products within the Loudbox family, but Loudbox is just a name used to segment out the product.
Okay, I'm overthinking things. Right, look, Kooky did say hi. I'll just throw that in there. He did say hi.
Thanks, Kooky. We appreciate the hi.
Okay, all right. Should we get started then?
I'm ready whenever you are. So I might want to take a little bit of a drink of water here, just because
I will too.
The
Cheers.
more you talk,
It's virtual happy hour with water. Oh. So
it's just a little early for me to start drinking beer here in California. So.
We see in New York it's 4 p.m. So
happy hour, buddy.
That's fine. First of all, what I like about this, I want to throw this in here. A lot of products that I've seen, like those mixers with no physical controls, right? And you have to use the app for everything. That scares me a bit, and I can see that could scare some people. Then you get a mixer with no app control, and people want further flexibility. What you've done here is what's impressed me the most about this product, is you've done both. So you never have to touch the app. You can just do it all from the device itself. And I didn't really show that in my first video, but I've got more videos coming. So check those out. But also check out the JBL videos too. You see it on the screen. So you can do all that from the unit itself. Or you can never touch the unit and do it all from the mobile app. And also the iPad app is really cool too. It's kind of the bigger screen.
Yeah.
Or you can do both. So I just think that's great. Or you could use the app to kind of get your tone where you want it, but then at the gig, just use the physical controls. I think that is really, really the key thing here for me. I think that's awesome.
That was a deliberate design philosophy. So when you know, we've made some missteps in the past where we've had products that had forced app experiences, where in order to really get the most of the product, you have to use the app. EON One Compact is similar to that. Like if you want access to the 8-band EQ, you got to use the app. And so with PRX One, being that it's at a higher price point, we were able to more feature load it and really geared that experience toward you, the user, using it however you see fit. You don't have to use it the way that we tell you to, right? If you want to use a hybrid experience where you have half app, half hardware, then you can do that. You know, there are certainly some features that will be released in a subsequent release that'll be app only. You know, like it's hard to do a tap tempo on hardware just to get it to respond the right way. It's tough. So that might be an app only feature. If we could figure it out long term, the benefit of having this digital mixer platform is that we can push out updates. We can keep the product fresh through its life cycle and improve on some of the things that users may hate, you know, and that helps us. But really what we wanted to do is make an experience where you, the end user, can use the product however you see fit. And it's not me telling you, you got to use the hardware or you got to use the app.
Yeah.
It's just your choice. And, you know, that's how it should be. At that point in time, you can focus on what drives your creativity the best instead of focusing on, you know, the way that you're going to use the speaker. So we really wanted to drive forward in that fashion.
Yeah, for me, that is what this unit is all about. That because I like to like run a loop pedal through it and really tweak my tone, like especially my acoustic guitar tone. But I found when I was actually playing a song through it the other day, I just wanted to reach over and just turn the volume up one with the physical control. I didn't want to open the app and then find that. And I just wanted to reach over and so I'm using both for me is really for me that's the key thing here. That's really great.
Inevitably no feature, no parameter is more than 3 clicks away on the hardware. And so, and it's the same on the app. No feature is more than 2 or 3 clicks away, whatever that feature may be from whatever menu you may be in. So we really wanted to also simplify the workflow so that as you're building through and working, if you do want to make those quick and easy tweaks, you know, they're readily available to you. And that's also part of why we designed that dual mode mixer, so that you can have more than just one single functionality out of your mixer as it stands.
Yeah, this is the app here. I did show it in my other video, but you're absolutely right. It's just like three main menus here at the bottom, and then you just tap on the speaker that you're editing, and everything is right there in front of you. Yeah. Actually, I was thinking the other day, I'm completely off topic, just one more thing. Like some of the digital mixers are quite involved that I've used in the past. This is so powerful. I can mix a whole band with this. So I'd like to see this everywhere, like in a like a band mixer. It's the easiest thing I've ever used.
Yeah. It's great that you say that. You know, our mixer product manager is investigating simple solutions like this for future projects. And part of moving to this ProConnect atmosphere that we've designed is really to simplify it for users at the end of the day. So as we begin to build out new projects, you know, thankfully we're still able to reinvest in our product lines and continue to release new stuff. And as we do, we want to integrate it into this one app. So you can begin to use multiple JBL speakers within the one app ecosystem. It's the same app. You don't need to learn a new app. It's the same functionality, and so just make something very powerful that stretches our product lines and makes it so you know, when I send you the next fun speaker to test, you don't have to relearn how to use a new application.
That's amazing.
Or and that's really the one of the design philosophies that we came into with this project, is to make sure that we're trying to think of you guys first and foremost.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to be the easiest for you? What's going to be the most simple process for you, because you know, live sound and some of those mixers, to your point, can be a lot of heavy lifting just to learn how to get your signal from point A to point B. And that's what we wanted to avoid here. We wanted to make a nice intuitive mixer with UI that's all designed at the same time for any future projects, so that we can just build from there, you know, and we don't have to redesign the wheel every time, so that you guys as end users can just use JBL stuff and know the predictable experience that you're going to be getting yourself into.
It's really clever because I use this stuff all the time, like in Logic and around the house, whatever. But what I keep looking at mixers because I do about one band show every 3 months. And I found with some other companies' mixers like that, I would pull it out the closet and take it to the band gig. And sometimes I'd be like really confused and forget how to do certain things. What you've done with this app is you've given us everything we need and nothing that we don't. And it's very easy to do. And I think that is the key. Because if every 3 months I've got to read the manual through again just to mix a band, that's kind of annoying. Now, some people like those mixers. Some people are good with them, use them all the time. They definitely have their place. I think you make some. But for me, this is, like I said, everything I need and nothing that I don't. So it's really, I like it in that respect. We should get on with the questions.
Let's to the last point that you made there. We also wanted to make it an experience that gears towards everybody. So if you're a beginner level user, you can just go in and load some of the presets. You don't really have to have intimate EQ or compression or gate knowledge to be able to get up and running fast. And that was kind of the philosophy there. But if you're a more advanced level user and you want full parameter access, it's not like we hide that from you. It's there. You can feel free to dial in your own tone however you would want. But we would just want to make sure that everybody, regardless of knowledge level, regardless of experience, can fully function on the speaker from point A to point B.
Yeah. And I will have some videos coming up about EQ on my channel, so please subscribe and ring the bell. All right, shall we get on with the questions? Are you ready for this? I hope you had a good night's sleep.
I got me a swig of water and a full night's sleep, so I'm full. All right. I'm ready to go.
Okay, the first questions are from the comments on my video, and then we'll go to the chat. So first of all, lots of very positive comments, and then I got about 4 questions from that. First of all, any plans to add foot switch support so you can turn the effects off? I think this is great because when you're talking on the PA, you don't want the reverb there to cloud the vocal while you're talking. So
yeah, totally understand. From a foot switch perspective, we don't have that functionality, but what we do have on the app is in the very top corner, there's an effects button, right? And if you just press that, that's actually a bypass, full effects bypass. So it just turns it on and off from the application. So I know that's top right, boom. Now your effects are bypassed. Now your effects are back on. So while we don't have a foot switch capable option, and I know that is certainly attractive to some players who are constantly using their hands, some more intricate guitar players and things like that, you can very easily bypass with the touch of an app. So that's the plan in that regard for how you could quickly disengage or engage your effects when you're speaking back to your audience, so you don't sound like you're in a cave.
Is that something that possibly you could add via the USB port or not?
We can certainly investigate it. I can't guarantee anything, but if that's something that we would like to see, then we can investigate how we get a USB-related foot switch in there.
Yeah. I use a TC Helicon Play Acoustic or Voice Live 3 Extreme straight in, and then that will actually mute the effects and boost my vocal while I'm talking as well. But I totally get why that could be a cool thing to have. Yeah. All right. Next question. So I've only used this so far, acoustic guitar and vocals. Could 2 of these be used for vocals only, I guess vocals only, in a band with 2 guitarists, bass and drums? I guess this is tough to answer because we don't know how loud the band is, what style of music they're playing. But what are these just for solo singer guitarists, or are these for bands as well?
No, I don't think so. But at that point in time, my recommendation may be to use a traditional mixer in your signal flow so you could get a true left-right signal, right? These do have analog pass-throughs, so you can expand them, but the signal inherently when you're running out to one system, right, you have to sum all of your signals into mono. And so if you wanted a stereo image, which a lot of people do, you would need to run ideally into a standalone mixer platform and then out of your mixer to use these as your mains instead. We do know that a lot of DJs like to use these in pairs. And really the analog pass-through is very versatile in regards to what it offers you, but inevitably it does send out a summed mono signal. So if you wanted to run multiple units, then that's just the limitation that you would have there.
So the pass-through is at the bottom there, and there's actually some cool settings. You've got full range mode, sub or custom, and you've got like dedicated delays in case you're running them as like a satellite speaker, right? That's
Yeah,
fine.
if you had a cocktail, like say you were playing a wedding gig, right, and you used the PRX One as your main, and you had a cocktail lounge where you wanted to run sound, you could run out your pass-through, put some delay on it based on how much space is between the two speakers, and then that way the cocktail lounge is hearing the same exact music at the same exact time that the main reception area may. So that's what the time delay and the pass-through side is for. But also, like you said, it has the ability to run as a sub. So if you wanted to run into an 18-inch powered subwoofer and you click that sub button, it automatically puts HPF, LPF on it to send the signal the best to a subwoofer. So really just making that pass-through versatile instead of just a standard mix out or what have you. And you also have passive volume control on there. So if you want to, say your cocktail lounge, you don't want to be as loud, you can control that volume from your main speaker, your original speaker, instead of controlling it using the gain on your subsidiary speaker, which is then going to add noise to your system. You could run your original speaker at unity and turn your your pass through down a little bit, so you get a lower level signal sent out to your subsidiary room.
I like that. I also like that. I notice if you mute down the bottom's your main PRX One. If you mute it, then it will still go through the pass-through if you want to.
Correct.
So I was actually
Yep.
recording here with that thing muted, so you can still use the effects from it. That's nice.
I've
the way,
seen many people do that. You can actually mute anything, any channel.
I was about to say that. I think
speaker.
people will appreciate that. Like you can now just tap and mute a channel, or hold down on the unit and mute a channel.
Yeah, again, the forced app experience is what we didn't want to get. So at any time, if you want to mute any channel or your main fader, all you got to do is hold your knob down for 2 seconds, and the speaker will mute that channel or that overall speaker. So you don't have to force yourself into the app to be able to mute things of that, like that.
Okay, next question. Can it be used with only, because there's two columns there that snap together.
Yeah,
Can you use it with just one of them if you want it kind of shorter, or do you have to put both columns in at all times?
Unfortunately, it's a fully bridged power amp, and it's geared specifically towards running all the speakers. So we do recommend running all the speakers at a time. I know that some people do like it when you can make a little bit of a shorter stack, and I understand that. But we really try to dial in the power amp to take as much advantage of the power segment that we can, and that meant running it fully bridged. So the power amp is really geared towards running all the speakers at one time.
But you are selling an accessory where you can kind of suspend the top part on the wall, right? I like that.
Yeah, we do have an optional accessory where you can suspend the array bar to put it in like a fixed install situation. If you had a corporate presentation room or you wanted to use this somewhere where you wanted to hide the subwoofer, you could do that. And the other good thing is that you can time align the tweeter bar to the subwoofer so that if they're offset, you're not experiencing any acoustic issues. So, that's definitely a kind of a higher level feature, but something that, again, increases the versatility of the product.
Very cool. All right, last one from the comments. How much does the sub weigh by itself? I think I guessed about 45 pounds.
Yeah, you were almost right on. It's actually like 44.7 pounds. And we will have a caster board with a dust cover that comes with it, as well as, or it doesn't come, the dust cover comes with the caster board. It's a separate accessory. But we'll also have flight cases if that's your jam. So just trying to make it so people can move it around easy. We understand that, 44-ish pounds might be light to some. It's certainly a sturdy unit, and part of that is you've got to build a unit capable of having enough acoustic volume to get the bass response out of it that we wanted. What we really didn't want to do was have to compensate our lack of acoustic volume or our woofer size by using filtering or DSP in the background, because our experience with DSP is you start to get power compression earlier, and we really wanted everybody to be able to turn this thing up full tilt and have it sound like it was at 75% or 60%. That consistency in sound was key for us, and so that's where we're looking. So essentially, yeah, it's 44 pounds. We do have some added accessories that would give a caster board similar to the transporter that we designed for EON One and EON One Pro. Yeah,
JBLcases.com has that right now. You can check it out.
Yeah,
And
JBLbags.com. I don't know if the
bags.
cases JBLbags.com. You can see, and we also have a ton of bags and cases for other products too. If there's ever something that you've been looking for, there's a lot of solutions on there that are very appealing from a carrying perspective.
Yeah, I got the bag for the compact. It's nice. I can't see it right now. If you go on that website, you'll see it. I just want to throw in there, like I have carried it around as I've got it here. It's not as heavy as I thought it would be. I'm glad there's a 12-inch sub in there, because you could have made a 10-inch or an 8-inch sub, but then you wouldn't have that low end. So yep. I think you've got a good sweet spot. And I don't like carrying gear, but I didn't really think about it. I mean, I wouldn't want to carry it long distances. In the promo video you released, like they're walking along with it, you wouldn't want to carry that like miles, but it wasn't
but if you're going from the car to a venue,
right, that was fine.
It's certainly tolerable. And we also, when we were building the project, we used computer modeling to make sure that our center of gravity was right. So as you're carrying it doesn't pull one way or the other to kind of tweak your wrist. It's a very even, easy carry. So even though it may be 44 pounds, the handle is very ergonomically set for a good center of gravity, so you can very easily carry it.
That's what I was trying to say. Like when I carried it, I didn't think about the weight, because the way it feels when you carry it is very even and not too bad. So I think I want to get that in there, because obviously people haven't picked it up yet, but it doesn't feel that bad. And if you're going to take it a long distance, you can get the roller case, of course. So I think it's good.
I certainly wouldn't want to walk 3-5 blocks with it, but if you're just going from a car to a gig, it's easier to unload than some combo amps are, most certainly.
Definitely.
Guitar combo amps. So
definitely. And if you've got a really small gig, you can take the compact, right? So there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so that's my questions from the comments. So thanks for those. And now we're going to go to the live questions for you.
So it seems like we got about 6 regular questions and then about 14 from Kooky.
You obviously don't know him as very well.
He sent a few comments over before, so I always appreciate him. Yeah. A lot of the development process, the best part is getting stuff into people's hands as early as possible, so that they can tell us what's great and what sucks, and you can improve it before you move into mass production, so that you build the best product that you possibly can.
No, this is great. Actually, a lot of people in the chat are people that I talk to about this stuff, so it should be good. All right, we will start here. My friend plays a cello and has the compact, actually. Greetings, Aaron. Hope you are well. Yes, thank you. The JBL EON One Compact, top and excellent speaker, I can just say. Is an upgrade coming soon, maybe with a better preamp for our acoustic instruments? What are your thoughts on that?
So the EON One Compact is a digital mixer, and we know we can deploy updates via OTA using the application and firmware. So if there's specifics about the preamp, is it too noisy? Is it not enough gain? Things like that we can certainly address from a firmware perspective. I would tend to recommend that if you need more gain on your preamps, use your mic line channels and just switch into mic mode, and then you get access to a microphone preamp that can help boost your signal. On the compact side of things, it should be fairly easy. But the best part is that we do plan to integrate the compact at some point in time into the ProConnect app, and when we do, we'll be pushing out a slew of new features that would support that as well.
You heard that here first, Kooky. No, I do the same, but actually just throw that in there. What I do is, with some low output pickups on my acoustic guitars, I just switch to mic, and all that seems to do to me is just to add more gain. It doesn't affect the tone or anything. So if you're looking for that solution, try the mic setting. Now, interesting enough, this thing does not have line on mic switches on it like the compact does. So can you explain why you did that?
So for the exact reason that we just said, a lot of people don't like to mess around with mic line switches. They just don't know where the best setting is, right? And so we've designed a continuous gain knob, which actually will automatically switch you between gain structures. So there's nothing that you as an end user need to do. Really, you just set your master volume or your main volume at whatever level you want it at, and turn your channel up until you've got the desired volume. It's that easy. And just making it function, as simply as we possibly could, that was really the motivation. So getting rid of the mic line switches, plus when you're looking at this all-in-one mixer, and once everybody has one in hand, there's not that much real estate that's free on here, right? And so if we were going to put a mic line switch, we certainly have some room to do so, but that's adding cost to you as a user where maybe it's not the best use of that cost. Every knob or switch or button at the end of the day, it costs money, and that cost just gets pushed back to you on a user. So from my perspective, I'd rather have no mic line switch and a very easy to use gain function, and then have more of the DSP side that we were able to put into the product because we don't have things like the mic line switch.
As someone that's grown up with that, select the mic or line and then set your gains. That took me a few minutes or a few days to get used to. So I think it's good to let people know that now before they get these. Don't get out of that kind of mindset. Just turn it up until you get the desired level, and then use the master volume to set that. Yeah.
Generally, the way that I operate it is I'll turn my main volume to like a negative 10 dB on the LCD, and then or negative 5 dB on the LCD, and then I'll turn my channels up where I want them until I have a desired volume, and then you have an extra 5 dB or 6 or 10 or however much you set it to. You'll have that extra headroom where you can inevitably turn it up. So that's the way that I operate it, and I think that it operates best in that fashion. But it was really just designed to be a simple platform that you didn't have to know or press the mic line switch. And over time, if you're dialing this thing in multiple times, and maybe you're not an app user or you don't want to save your speaker snapshots or what have you, pressing mic line 3-4 times adds up over time. And this, your time is money, and if you can show up somewhere and get set up in less than 5 minutes, then that's more time in your pocket. Especially if you're making money out there doing this, you want your setup to be as quick and as streamlined as possible. It might sound silly because what's it take 2 seconds to press a mic line switch? But if you have to do that across 4 channels, and then from my perspective, it's a workflow thing that certainly is a change, but I think it'll be a welcomed one when people begin to navigate through the product.
Yeah. So you just plug in, turn it up, select your preset, turn up the master where you want it, and you play. That's cool. Yeah. All right, let's put this one to bed. JBL EON One and EON One Pro were reported to have weak fixed gain on the instrument's inputs. Was this solved? So is this a brand new product, or is this like an evolution of that product?
No, these are while they're an evolution of the family, right? But with evolution comes improving on the things that that your customers don't like. And we've heard you loud and clear. The gain structure on EON One and EON One Pro does leave a little bit to be desired. So we actually didn't skimp on the preamps at all. These are full bandwidth, which means as you turn it up, they do not roll off your highs and lows. But these are full bandwidth preamps capable of pushing 56 dB of microphone gain. So these would be, for all intents and purposes, mixing desk quality microphone preamps. We really didn't skimp on those, as some speakers in this column form factor tend to do. We really didn't sacrifice there.
I think that's good. I think that's very important. And then he said, what is the gain available on both mic and instrument inputs? I guess you mean line.
You get negative 100 to 56 dB. So line level kicks in at about 12 dB. So that would, and unity is 0 dB. So you got about 12 dB of line gain, and then you have 56 full dB of gain in general. So, if you have low gain or low sensitivity preamps that might need more gain, use the mic channels. But there's more than enough gain on this to power any microphone that I've experienced. So, should hopefully put that issue behind us, and we can all move forward from there.
Okay, Cookie, are you really going to ask all the questions today? Okay, let's try this one. Kooky again. The EON One Compact, the compact spread is spec'd to be 120 degrees. It was measured by Sonomag magazine to be 90 degrees. Can you explain how the 120... how do you measure your spread and your SPLs?
So we have a wide field monitor system where we put this in a room and we scan a microphone at 2 meters all the way around the speaker to see where we may incur any issues. If Sonomag Magazine measured it at 90, I would be more than happy to talk with Sonomag Magazine on their measuring techniques. But we've been making speakers 75 years. I trust my acoustic engineering team. I've seen the equipment that they use to measure some of these things, and just here in Northridge alone, we have something in the neighborhood of 6 fully anechoic chambers. So, when we're in there measuring these with our microphones, we don't fudge our numbers. We stand behind them, and we're really proud of being able to put something out that we know is the accurate spec. So maybe if Sonomag has a different measurement, I'd be more than happy to discuss with them their measurement techniques and see where maybe there's an issue. Without seeing the measurement parameters and how they took them, I can't really comment on how they got to that number. But I know how we got to ours, and I trust that.
So hopefully now you're starting to see that the people who watch my channel are very, they pull no punches, with this stuff. What about the line array effect? Does the JBL throw as far as the Bose or other competitors? What is the dB attenuation when you multiply the distance by 2? My head's hurting, Kooky.
Yeah. So we've actually put in some technology here that we're really proud of. That really does give us from blind listening test the best throw of all the competitive speakers. We don't use array techniques, which he mentioned specifically the Bose and also EV use. They use arrays to achieve better frequency dispersion. But when we do this, it's not just about front to back throw, and we know that our decay time as you increase distance is better than our competitors. It also tends to be more important to have improved left to right response, so that as you begin to move off axis from your speaker, you're not hearing something completely different. And the one thing that I would say about some of our competitors is the way that they solve this challenge, from my perspective, just isn't as effective at maintaining the bandwidth from left to right. And sometimes that's not what they're solving for. But we know we have very detailed measurements that show not only is our side lobing much more improved over our competitive our competitors in the space, but we also know that our front to back throw, using the technology that we've put into this, is much improved versus our competitors. So we're very happy with the acoustic solution that we've designed.
Yeah, because on the specs you're saying 130, right? Whereas some of the other ones say like 180, which is
yeah. So also note that we measure all of our speakers at 2 meters.
Okay.
So when I say 130, that means it's 130 dB at 2 meters. Our competitors all measure at 1 meter. You and I both know that listening at 1 meter is not meaningful or impactful in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So, nobody listens to a speaker at 1 meter. And if you're listening to 130 dB at 1 meter, please take a few steps back from the speaker, because you're going to damage your hearing essentially overnight. So, my recommendation is to look at it from that perspective. We try to measure everything and relay that information back to you guys in the fashion that is the most accurate. We don't want to put out peak SPL or something where it's just a burst. We can get 130 dB out of this sustained.
Right.
Full frequency bandwidth, no power compression. We actually were measuring up to 131.5 and put a limiter on so that you didn't start to get into power compression. So we really want to prevent you from bumping into issues just based on the natural acoustics of transducers.
Yeah, what's the point if it sounds like crap? You've got a high volume, but it doesn't sound good.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Just a side note for people watching, do just a little tip, like bear that in mind. If you're shopping for a product and you download all the product manuals and look at the specs, just bear that in mind. Figure out how they're actually doing that. I could take my phone and stand and put it right next to a speaker and say, well, that's the volume, but then maybe they measured that 3 meters away. So make sure you've got the full picture there if you can. Sometimes these things are kind of hard to understand, aren't they?
From a measurement perspective too, what you'll often see is people relaying the max SPL of the peak transients instead of what they actually get. So anytime you have a speaker, there's no such thing as a flat response. The goal is usually a flat response, but you're always going to have issues here, there, and everywhere, right? So a lot of people in the space might say, well, at 1K, we can get 130 dB. So let's tell people we can get 130 dB, even though their nominal is maybe 124. Yeah. And we've seen that actually a lot.
That is a good thing to know. And then we answered this one already. Will the high pass filter be available on the compact? I guess yes, right? Because you said that'll be integrated eventually.
Not initially, but yeah, once we have the resources available to integrate the compact into JBL Pro Connect, we do intend to bring a few modernization features to that pass-through that would set the pass-through up to be more conducive to subwoofer usage. So they're not yet, but soon.
And then is there a mute? Yes, look, channel 1, muted. Channel 2, muted. Channel 3, muted. Channel 4, muted.
Not just from the app, but also from the hardware. Like we said earlier, if you just hold any channel knob, so at any time. So if you want to mute channel 5, you just hold the knob for channel 5 and it'll mute. Once it hits 2 seconds, it'll automatically mute. You don't have to do anything. It's very easy from both ways.
And then regarding EQ, like you said, you got the high pass there. I guess this 3-band EQ is available on the unit, and then you've got the 4 below it as well if you want to make further adjustments.
You got 3 fixed bands of EQ because sometimes you want to boost your mids without having to dive into your parametric EQ. And then you have 4 bands of parametric EQ on each channel. And then, of course, once you've dialed that in, you have an 8-band EQ on your output fader to allow you to fully customize your sound in any way you see fit.
Yeah, really cool. All right, so here's a fun one. This is close to my heart. Will we be able to mute the intro noise when you turn the thing on?
You won't be able to mute the intro noise, but I'm happy to report that I completely removed any noises from the system. And when I push out my next EON One Compact firmware update, I will remove the tones as well. I dislike connection tones. I don't think anybody likes the connection tones. And you have a way to verify your connectivity on the bright full color LCD. It'll tell you if you're connected via Bluetooth. So we've all agreed that let's get rid of that connection tone. So
yeah, I'm laughing because it's on the compact, but then on this one, when I first turned this on, it was because it's a big system. It's just like it's just really loud. And I turned this on late at night, and we're in an apartment, so all I got was a doo-doo. And I just thought of the neighbors, like, turning it on. So yeah, great. I'm glad you.
Yeah, all it took for me was to wake my baby up from one nap with that connection tone, and I was like, nope, it's gone. We're taking it out.
Yeah,
I think it's no more. You can consider that a feature of the past.
We're all glad about that. Kooky does own the compact as well. Yeah, a lot of my friends and fellow musicians own this now, and they all really like it. I got a friend in England. My friend Johan bought one. I think he uses it a lot for bass and acoustic. Kooky got one.
I take mine everywhere. I take it camping. I take it to my family's house for holidays where we listen to Christmas music, and I bring it everywhere. It's great. It's so versatile. Before I got a PRX One samples, I was using the EON One Compact as a little practice bass amp. It just works great.
Thomas Moore, I don't quite understand your question. Would the EON powered 12-inch sound just as good with 2 of them?
I think that the question is maybe if you're using 2 EON 12s, would it sound as good as 2 PRX Ones? The PRX One's going to have considerably more headroom than the EON stuff. I think we're talking maybe 3 or 4 dB. I don't have the specs memorized, so forgive me, but you're going to get it, at least a perceived doubling in acoustic pressure out of the PRX One than you would out of the EON 612. Now, if you're using 2 EON 612s, that's a great setup, but I still think 2 PRX Ones is going to be considerably louder and more powerful, but you're also talking about a lot more money in that regard.
Right. And when would I pick an EON Compact One? So I'm confused. Do you mean the PRX One or the Compact?
No, I think his question is when would he pick an EON One Compact over just a standard acoustic guitar amp? And,
yes.
So from my perspective, if you needed a battery, the EON One Compact has a battery. It's fully operational battery. If you were plugging in multiple sources or you wanted to use microphones and your acoustic guitar, many acoustic guitar amps do have an XLR input, but they often don't also have a battery on the same side. And one of the things that I'm really proud of in regards to the EON Compact is that battery. I mean, you can run it at full tilt for 6 to 8 hours and barely degrade it half, barely degrade it 50%. That battery just crushes it. And, that's something that we've nailed. And if you need more battery, then you can very easily swap the battery. And, that's a feature that we're the only ones on the marketplace that offer with Compact is there's a little thumb screw on the back, you untwist it, pop a new battery in, and we sell the battery as a accessory, so you can buy a second battery.
That's cool. I'll just throw my thoughts in there because when I moved to New York City, I bought like a dedicated guitar amp, which is highly regarded and used by some, like Tommy Emmanuel uses this. But I was never happy with the vocals, because when you try to sing through a guitar amp, acoustic guitar amp sometimes can be quite mid-focused for whatever reason, maybe the size of the box or just the way it's made. And I much prefer singing through something like the compacts over there. Can't quite see it on camera.
Yeah. So
I much prefer that for vocals.
Acoustic guitar amps generally will only be a one-way system, right? So they'll have one 12-inch speaker or two 12-inch speakers. That's still one way. They're running those bridged in that regard. So EON One Compact is a two-way system. It has a 1-inch tweeter that helps with high-frequency reproduction. And so they don't have to, when we tuned that speaker, we didn't have to gear it more towards guitar, right? And that's what those acoustic guitar amps will do. They'll be geared towards reproducing the guitar. Well, your voice and your guitar sit in different frequency ranges. And so having a two-way system is just going to give you a better overall reproduction of your sound. And, at the end of the day, our app just blows everybody else from an app perspective out of the water. So if you need more by way of features, then the acoustic guitar site's probably not going to do it as much as an EON One Compact may.
I used it a few weeks ago. I used it at a gig, and I actually powered my looper pedal from the unit using the USB out. So I was fully battery powered. I powered my other pedal that went into it, and it's just awesome. And then the battery life is it just goes on forever, like 12 hours or something.
You probably didn't even notice a difference powering your pedal off of the battery either. It's like I said, the battery is super powerful.
Yeah.
And those USB ports, you can power a wireless system with them. You can power, whatever it is you may need. They're certainly powerful ports.
Yeah. Kooky says, some stick PAs don't sound the same when you're close or far. Is the PRX One meant to work as both PA and monitor by being placed behind the performer?
Certainly, and you can add AFS to make sure you minimize your feedback, but my recommendation would generally be to stand to the side or behind. The speaker certainly does have rear bleed, which will help with it's rear ported on both on the array, so you'll get rear bleed from the back that will help with monitoring and help you minimize any feedback you might encounter without having to engage the feedback suppression.
And I actually tried this. I played in front of it for quite a while, and it started to make my ears fatigue a bit because I had it that loud. So then I tried standing behind it, which actually worked pretty well for people. Some people don't like a lot of volume when they play. I've had friends that don't want monitors at all. It's a really nice sound when you stand behind it. But for me, the optimal place was to stand beside it and get just that sweet spot where you get enough of it, but it's not kind of like, even if these things spread the sound, there's still like a lot of power behind you going into your ears, right?
Certainly, and the off axis to the side is where you're going to be in a spot where you can certainly get the best by way of frequency response, but you're going to minimize your exposure to the throw of the speakers and the rear bleed from the ports.
And here's a product idea from Kooky. JBL should consider a small pedal format mixer. There you go.
Okay. I'll send the message up for you.
Lee's here from the UK, busy working but listening in. Thanks, Lee. So Lee's in the UK. So are these available? Are they going to be available at the same time worldwide, or is it USA first?
Man, we're trying, but there's many logistics challenges that are out there right now. If you're in the Asia Pacific market, you can buy it already. Products are already available through many dealers and distributors. If you're in North America, should be hitting distribute or dealers this week, Guitar Centers and Sweetwaters and stuff this week and next week. And then if you're in Europe, I believe they're on the way to dealers right now. So everything worldwide, you should be able to get your hands on this no matter where you are within the next 2 weeks or so.
Okay, great. Does the app provide a low pass filter too? It doesn't, right?
It doesn't on channels. But if you want to use a low pass filter, then you can use one of the parametrics in a shelf perspective and put on a low pass filter in that regard. And there is a low pass filter if you click it into sub mode that you can use in that regard. There's just not a low pass on channels.
Yeah, I never used low. I always use the high pass for any kind of like excessive bass, especially with acoustic guitar. Sometimes I don't want that much bass or that kind of stuff.
In practice, a high pass is much more practical than a low pass.
Yeah, I don't use low pass, but I guess you might.
Generally
want to use
speaking, I use low passes if I'm running subwoofer systems. That's really the only time I use a low pass.
Right. Maybe like a really bright acoustic, but you could just use a wide band there, right?
I might also use a low pass on speech reproduction. If somebody's speaking back, I'd use a high pass, low pass just to minimize some of the sibilance that they may run into.
And you said, could effects button be triggered by a Bluetooth pedal connected to your phone?
You know what? I have seen people.
Yeah.
I have seen people do that with the Compact. So I surely think the possibility is there. I've just never tried it, so I can't say whether or not that it will. But I have seen people use the pedal method as described there.
And have you met Poo Ninja before?
I have not. It's a funny name, but no.
Meet Poo Ninja. Poo Ninja's on all the live streams, and so much so that Toman actually made his own episode last week.
Great, that's awesome.
Dedication.
That is awesome. Yeah.
And here's another question. If you had a question, it would be, can you hear it from outer space? That would be his question.
Almost. Yeah, almost. I did all my testing in my neighborhood, and let me tell you, my neighbors don't like me very much anymore. So I did it all in my backyard and pissed off every neighbor I have. So no MIDI switching. No MIDI. We're working on, I have seen the requests for USB switching, so I'll investigate that, but no MIDI switching.
So with the lightweight build quality and possibilities thanks to the app, they got me. Battery time, excellent. The EQs for output and per channel, finally. And this is someone very into gear, so that's good.
I think that's related to the Compact.
Compact,
just remember, the PRX One, in order to get the power, the acoustic performance out of it that we can, the PRX One does not offer a battery as a solution. It's strictly AC power. You're limited in regards to the performance that you can get out of a battery. We've tried with all different kinds of batteries, and about the best you can get is about 119 dB.
Says EON One Compact for me is the best speaker so far for busking. Great.
I'm not a busker, but I got to agree.
Yep. MIDI assignable buttons or fader would be cool inside the app, so we could change parameters via Bluetooth MIDI. Is something like this planned? Just an idea.
It's an idea. Let me see what we can do.
Yeah. Warren says this is a cool PA. Warren's in Australia. Hey, Warren. And says more top end is good. Yeah, interesting what you said. As you turn up the volume, things stay the same. That's good.
Yeah.
So it's good to know. I never thought about that before, but that's cool you got that. And then Kookie's very happy. New app will be enabled for the Compact. Cannot wait to try it.
We're working on trying to get it done as fast as we can. We're resource constrained because, without saying too much, I'm working on many things right now. So as soon as we've got resources to free up to build the Compact into the app, we do intend to.
What do you think about saving presets to the cloud? Interesting.
It's certainly a good idea. I got to see what the protocol would be to be able to export out of the app into the iCloud. Apple's a little bit restrictive with what they allow other apps to do with iCloud, so I'd have to look into that. There's another option of potentially looking into having an account with the like a JBL type account where you would be able to save your presets to that account. So if you did have your phone lost or stolen, or you wanted to load your account onto another device, then you'd be able to do that. So that gave me some ideas, and all I can say is I'll look into it.
That's actually, I hadn't thought about that before, because like maybe if I have a LR Bags Anthem pickup and in an HD28 and I have a preset that I've dialed in, I'm not saying it will work perfectly for someone else, but I could send it to them, they could try it, something like that.
Yeah, and that'd be a cool feature to build the kind of community around the speakers and the application.
Here's a good question. Stringmaster, hi. Was the PRX developed and beta tested with singer-songwriters in mind, or was it designed for DJs?
So again, like that goes back to the design philosophy of having something that's versatile. We tested this with DJs. We tested this with keyboard players. We tested it with singer-songwriter acoustic style. We tested this with I'm a bass player. I tested all of it, all the bass side of things. We tested this across many different use cases and applications so that when we put out the product, it was the best that it could be for everybody, for whomever wanted to use it. And that was really the key. A lot of the products in this space they gear it towards a singular use focus. And we really wanted it to be everybody's speaker, not just one person's speaker.
Yeah, and what I'll say is the great thing with this is if you're doing a party and you're playing acoustic, maybe you roll some low end off. But when you take a break and play the pre-recorded music over the Bluetooth, you get that bass and that kick, and that's something that I've been missing, because I said in my video the other day, like even just tapping the strings on the guitar, now I get that low end that I was definitely missing before. And so obviously the whole thing for me is worth, even if I want that extended sub for playing my backing tracks or something. Or sometimes I use like a kick drum pedal. That's so much better through this than it is through a regular, because I used to use just an 8-inch top. So it's hasn't got any of that low kind of frequency range.
And you're going to get a lot more air. I mean, the key with bass is how much air can you push. So you're going to push more air with a 12 than an 8. But the other thing that we really did is that we optimized the high frequency transducers, the smaller guys, to all the way down to 500 hertz. So that allows the woofer to just focus on low frequency performance, and we're not expecting the woofer to carry the load through those those low mid frequencies where you tend to get a lot of acoustic guitar performance, but also vocal range. Some of the attack of your kick drum as opposed to the body and the presence. You start to get a lot more of that because the woofer's just focused on that. It's not focused on those mid to level frequencies, which helps it really push out that bass in a natural fashion. And I'm a bass player, and I love using it as a little bass amp. It had so much response, and I could actually hear my notes and the subtle changes that you would want to hear from a bass, when you're playing it. So
I was thinking I used to be in a duo with a bass player, and acoustic guitar. It'd be ideal for that. Like that, he would have been so happy to have that back then.
Yeah, because he as a bass player, I hate bass amps. They're always just big and cumbersome, and they still just don't do it. So it's a great solution for that.
I think we need to remember that, because a lot of people, or some people, have commented on the size and the weight, but don't forget what you've got here is your full, really powerful mixer, your sub, but you don't need a stand. And so when you take that into consideration, if you were to take those parts separately, the weight would be a lot more than this. So I think you've got to remember that.
And if you don't want to, you don't have to bring any outboard gear. You could use the onboard gear, and it really, you could load in 1 or 2 trips instead of having to walk back and forth and carry many things. So.
Yeah. A lot of people want that now. Jim's asking a question that I used to ask companies all the time, and I kind of stopped because a lot of them just said there's not enough interest, or it takes a lot of DSP that products don't have. But it is an interesting one. Have you got any plans to allow the loading of impulse responses in, like acoustic guitar impulse responses? Some people like to use those.
Yeah, we would love to, but again, DSP is a limited resource in all these products. I mean, even some of our products that do offer amp modeling, like Soundcraft UI-24, that has 2 full chips dedicated to DSP and 2 full top-of-the-line chips for that. It's not a low effort endeavor. It really is a heavy effort endeavor. So you're right. The companies that are telling you that, they aren't lying to you. It's true. It's tough to pull off, and DSP is hard. It's hard.
Even like Line 6 with the Helix, that they're currently getting a lot of people saying we need double the power, and they're saying, well, we're using the most powerful chips we can use right now. So it's not really much. Our hands are kind of tied. There's not much we can do about that.
Like I said, the UI-24 is running 2 top-of-the-line chips to accomplish what it accomplishes from a amp modeling perspective. When we were designing this product, I wanted to put amp modeling in it, and they were told, well, you're gonna be looking at $2,000 or more. And at that point in time, it's like, well, I don't know if many of my customers want amp modeling enough to spend $2,000 on something. Yeah. And you really try to build something, because everything costs money, everything. And it's just one of those things from a design philosophy where you want to make sure that the things that I'm spending money on are things that you're going to want. Because if I'm putting product features in there, and spending the amount of money that I would need to be able to build DSP that robust, it's
No, I get
expensive.
The percentage of your market that are like us in the acoustic guitar forum that want those kind of niche features probably wouldn't be worth it. And then you've got the DSP, like you said. I will throw this in though. If you're using something like a Tone Dexter or a Bags pedal or something, then you could try to power it from the USB out port. So it's only a matter of plugging the power cable to that. And sometimes that's better because you have then the control from that as well, or whatever you want to do with that thing. So I think that powered USB port is a really key feature as well. So that's cool. All right. Nice question. Because now we're talking about the next phase of that, like blending that in with that. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe one day. Maybe when the chips get more powerful. It must be really difficult because you've got to find chips that are powerful enough and also available, which is a problem right now, right?
The availability is the big problem because last year in October, one of the biggest semiconductor factories on the planet caught on fire and burned down. So, you may notice going to the store that you can't even buy like refrigerators or washers and dryers and cars and all sorts of things right now. The supply chains are completely screwed from front to back. It's not even just one asset. And right now, most experts are saying that's not going to fix itself until spring of 2022. So,
Kuki said the HK Audio Move 8 has battery hot swap now. Okay, well, that's cool. But I never need it because it's 12 hours on the Compact. I've never ever
I've never even had to swap it. Never.
Yeah. And I bet even our friend at Busks, I bet he doesn't have to either. I don't. Yeah, he doesn't. He's told me before. Busking battery power from Poo Ninja. Jack is here. Jack also bought the Compact. Pretty much everyone watching the channel today owns one, a Compact.
Eventually the ability to use them all together in one app is going to be great. We've validated so far on ProConnect that we can connect 10 PRX ones at a time simultaneously and control them all. And we don't really think there's a limit to how many we can connect. So you're talking about the ability to be able to build full ecosystems within that app. It's going to be super powerful from that perspective.
Jack recently purchased a PA like the PRX One from another brand, but I'll just say this to Jack. With your Compact, with this, what you can do is on this speaker page here, you can have the PRX One, well, you hopefully will be able to soon, have the Compact there as well, and then you could do both from one place, which is going to be really, really, really nice. Yeah,
that's the goal.
Yeah, that's really, really great thinking. When you stand beside it, do you lose lots of high end? Well, I tried that, Kooky, and no, I didn't. I lost some high end when I stood behind it, but everything just got quieter behind it. I think some people like that. I think some people like that feeling of hearing themselves but not blast themselves out. But I like to stand beside it, and I got plenty of high end there. Pablo, welcome to the channel. Good to see you. Nice hearing about the PRX One. Basically, I'm looking forward to getting a pair of them. Great. Do you know if JBL will make available any kind of spacer to increase the height? Well, we mentioned that, right?
Yeah, so what we've designed here is a speaker that the height is actually a significant advantage for us because we can get better control of our frequency directivity. But I will also say, and Aaron, you can reinforce this because you're a fellow vertically inclined person. But I'm 6'4", and this right here next to me is a PRX One, and it stands about 6'7". It's a little over 2 meters for those not in America. It's a tall unit. It's not small. It's not short. If you need to raise the height up any further, I would question who you're trying to reach on top of the mountain. But it's certainly a tall array. It's not small.
Yeah, right. And if this is for a fixed installation, like you said, you sell the device so you can put that top part up high.
And you would just connect those with standard speak-on cables, so no proprietary cabling or anything like that's necessary.
Jack says, does anyone want to buy my Evolve 30M? Sorry, Jack. It's so good to hear the thoughts of a real user of music gear. Thank you. Okay, which channels have phantom power and how is it accessed?
It's channels 1 and 2. Full 48 volt phantom power, and as with any channel level feature, you just simply have to press the rotary encoder and it'll take you into the channel menu. Once you're in the channel menu, you can do things like turn on your phantom power. You can mute. This would be on the LCD side of things, or you can do what Aaron just showed you there and activate phantom power from the application. So very easy to do. And like I said, anything you'd want to do is two to three clicks away.
And what I really love is that I see you can rename each channel. So I can name the channel for what it is, not just channel 1, 2, 3. And you can say, I haven't tried this yet, but you can save that, right, as a profile.
Sure can. And in addition to being able to rename the channels like a scribble strip, you can also rename your speaker. So if you've got left and right, so you can rename them left and right, so you know very easily on your app which one's which. If you're one of those people who wants to make sure that you always know what your speaker is, you could rename it Aaron's PRX One or whatever, and it'll change the Bluetooth address completely. So
yeah, so just think about this. You play the same restaurant every Sunday, and you play a show, and maybe the third show you're thinking, this sounds great. I love what I've done here. This sounds fantastic. Just save it. And then you use that next time.
In Joe's, you're at Joe's coffee shop every Sunday. You just go in Joe's, load Joe's profile, and then all you got to do is turn your master up, and you're off and running and ready to go.
How many presets can you save? Is there a limitation?
8. Yeah, there's 8
presets. And Putin just said again, are there MIDI controls? There's not, right?
No MIDI.
Or maybe it means that could be a way to assign it. A lot of apps now have a way to assign like a Bluetooth MIDI pedal to the app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I encourage you guys to investigate that however you want to. Let me know if it works. It works. Cool. We can tell people that that's a way to do it. But we didn't build any MIDI into this, and the thought that the app functionality and control would be more than sufficient.
Thomas Moore said, my son bought a JBL powered speaker for his outside movie setup. Would the Compact be the same thing but have a battery? Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
And probably louder too, right?
The powered ones are probably going to be louder depending on what grade he got, because remember, anytime you have access to AC power, you're just going to get a better path to sound than without. So you're probably going to get a little bit more juice, but yeah, certainly.
And Pablo says, when will it be available in Brazil?
Brazil's a little bit trickier because there's a lot of certifications that go into Brazil, but I'm anticipating that Brazil should have some by mid-September.
And what's the runtime on the battery? So I tried to focus on PRX One today, so that's probably a question about Compact.
Yeah, you've got my time, so might as well use it. The Compact will get 12 plus hours. I've ran the thing at full tilt for 9-10 hours and degraded the battery 25%. So I've never killed it. I have tried, and I've never killed the battery. So if you kill the battery, let me know. So I know what it takes to get there, but I've never done it.
Yeah. No, I want to make sure people watching realize that's for the Compact, because this one, the PRX One, does not have a battery. That's all. Make sure that's clear.
That's how we get the power out of it, is with no battery.
So
if you want a battery powered solution, you're just going to have to keep watching what's going on for the next few months.
Watch this space. My only complaint with the Compact app is the sliders are jumpy and it's tough to get an exact number. Why not give an option to type in a number? I've actually thought about this as well.
Yeah, understood. We've improved on that in ProConnect, and we'll continue to improve on it as we build out the application. Sometimes you just don't discover things until you have units in the field. And again, if you have complaints, the best part about this is it's a digital mixer. We can fix things. So let us know.
With any app, I find sometimes, no matter how responsive it is, the slider, like if you want 51, sometimes it's really hard to get 51. So if you could hold down and that brings up the screen where you just type in 51, that could be nice.
That won't be a launch day feature, but it will certainly be something that's integrated into the app at a subsequent release.
That could be really cool. And Jack, I've got to say this new app and the new hardware connects really fast. Sometimes I was waiting a little bit for the Compact, especially the early days, but with this one, it just kind of connects. I've not lost connection once. It's really, really cool. Are you using a different chip in this one?
It's a different chipset. Yeah, it's a better chipset. The Compact was maybe 20-25 seconds sometimes to connect on the high side. I don't think I'm running the most recent Apple iPhone and iPads when I'm testing right now, and Samsung devices and things. So I'm running on most recent stuff, and generally speaking, I can connect in under 7 seconds.
Yeah, me too. It's really impressive, and it's really important because when you get to your show and you want to start dialing things in, I really hate when you have to wait for an app to kind of connect. So that really, like, almost instant experience is really important for me. So I'm glad it's got that. So that's Bluetooth 5 in the PRX One.
It's also Bluetooth 5 in the EON Compact.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
But I find this one, maybe it's the app as well. We'll see when the app.
I think it's so the app connects with BLE, and
Right.
the BLE technology is always improving. So when we inevitably add Compact to this ecosystem, we'll push a firmware update out to the Bluetooth chipset to get it to perform better as well. So
Very cool. And if and when that happens, everyone, I shall do a full video about it. So subscribe and ring the bell. Who Ninja likes the idea of cloud presets. Kooky, with the Compact, if you are streaming MP3 and controlling the JBL, you need to flip apps all the time. Could the JBL app have an MP3 player built in? That's interesting.
that's certainly a nice suggestion. The only thing I would say is that might take some resources that we wouldn't want to devote to that. Like, would you rather have an MP3 player in the app, or would you rather have the EON One Compact into this ecosystem? You know, there is a give and trade in that regard. But on the flip side, what I would say is that we separated your control stream and your audio stream. So if you have access to multiple devices, you can stream from one and control from another, so that you don't have to flip in that regard. You don't have to use the same device to do both. So you could split it in that fashion, and then you don't have to flip between apps.
Very cool. Kooky says the HK Move 8 has IR modeling built in and is a similar price. Well, yeah, Kooky, but does it have the other features that the PRX One has as well?
Yeah, I'd certainly look at the HK Move 8. I'm not as in-depthly familiar with that product, and see, what I would say is anywhere you're spending money, you're not spending money on something else. So it's like, where's the money going?
Yeah, and we didn't even really talk about it today, but this has the DBX anti-feedback built-in, which is something only you can have access to because the Harman own DBX, right?
Yeah.
So you put that into this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And for me, that's really, really, really useful. Like, I did a wedding gig a few years ago, and I was having so many issues with feedback. And if my monitors just had that built in, it would have been absolutely a game changer. I know you make some speakers now with that built into the regular kind of speakers as well, but it's also in this. And I think that's that must use a lot of processing power, right? Stuff like that.
AFS is certainly processor intensive, yeah. And so then it comes back to the fact is, like, would you rather have automatic feedback suppression, or would you rather have acoustic impulse responses? It's hard to, I can't do both, and so I try to pick what's more impactful.
Yeah. I think the anti-feedback, and then you've got access to lexicon effects. And by the way, like when you load up the reverb, as in my video the other day, it kind of looks like there's just one control, but you can go in there and really customize your reverb as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, you have access to your sends in multiple ways, and then again, you can go in and dial in full parameter control, and that's not forced into the app. You can do that from the LCD as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to say that. I didn't say that in my video. The unit has a full color screen on it where you can see even the EQ curves and everything too. I mean, I would rather use the app, but it's really impressive that it's on there as well.
I would also rather use the app, but there are some people who would rather use the hardware, and we're happy to give you controls to both cars.
And there's always someone that says, what happens if, with some companies, if the app's not supported, but that wouldn't happen with Samsung, but what if my phone's dead or something like that? So that's why that stuff's practical. Okay, can the mixer bypass the speakers for use like a standalone mixer, such as for connecting to a computer? Yeah, you can, right?
Yeah. You can run out of the pass-through and use it in any way. You used it to record your videos, and you could use it to dump a stereo mix out, or a summed mono mix out to a recording device if you wanted to record a performance or anything of that nature.
Well, I didn't use it as like a USB audio interface. I plugged the XLR out, and by the way, I'm glad it's full XLR as well. XLR out of that into my interface, but then I've got all that power there to use if I need to for recording. So yeah, you can do that.
It's certainly not an interface that's going to split out your channels. If you're looking for a really powerful interface, I'd recommend the UI24. That thing at $9.99 or $10.99 or whatever the price is now, and it doubles as a full 24 I/O recording interface, and not a lot of people use it for that, but that's what I use it for.
Darren, hi Darren, says I power the TC Helicon Play Acoustic from the USB on the Compact. Yeah, me too. I'm going to make a video on that actually, because a lot of people don't know you can do that. I found the cable Took me a while to find that cable, didn't it, Brandon? But I found it.
You just got to make sure that we do sell them now. We have stock on them now, but they're short. They're only like a meter, and obviously that's not going to be great from an acoustic pedal standpoint. You're going to want it on the floor. So, just make sure all you got to do is find a USB step up or step down. It's a 5-volt 2-amp port. It'll power almost anything in the 9 and 12-volt range, so long as the draw is not too heavy. Yeah. And the PRX One is going to have those same USB ports. So.
That is actually my issue. The cable's not long enough that I have. So if I'm sitting right next to it, it's fine. But for a regular gig, I've had to stop using it. I've got to find a way to get a longer cable. So I have to work on that. Poo Ninja's still using big, heavy cabs, but there's less gravity here, so it's not so bad.
Hey, not bad. Not bad.
Philip Watson. I'm considering this product. Aaron, do you have a link where I can purchase it? I do. I put my affiliate Sweetwater link in the description below. So if you want to use that, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, Sweetwater should have stock within the next 2 weeks, I'd assume.
Yeah, they're pre-order right now, Phil. So you can pre-order it, and as soon as they get them in, they'll ship it out. I put the link to Toman there as well.
Yeah, we got about 1,800 units sitting in the Port of Long Beach right now, just waiting to get clear. So
yeah, should be soon.
Yeah,
and like I said, I plan to do some more content on how I use it too. So watch out for that. The PRX One checks a lot of boxes for me. Thanks for taking the time to answer questions, Brandon.
Not a problem. I'm happy to be here.
And Kooky does say, I agree with Aaron. What? You hear that? Kooky said on to the chat here, I agree with Aaron.
It's a good thing you're recording. Yeah.
This is recorded here. The DBX anti-feedback is a game changer. Yeah, I want to test that out some more. I've had that in a few products that I find it so cool, but sometimes it's hard to test in the apartment because when you get to that level where it sucks out the feedback, by that time it's already going.
Yep, it's certainly a game-changing feature. So keep looking out for it in the future.
I just want to just show that on the screen quickly because I think it's interesting the way you've implemented it. So you go back here, and it says AFS. You have to turn it on. And then what you have is fixed AFS. So tell me if I'm right, Brandon. You turn on fixed AFS and you basically stand there in your sound check and make it feedback and it will do the filters. And then when you're done, you turn that off and you turn on the live anti-feedback and that will basically track while you're playing the live gig all the time. Is that right?
Yeah, that's essentially how it would function. The live AFS will reduce feedback in real time. But the only limitation there is once you've reached the end of your filter spectrum, which you get 10 live, 10 fixed filters. So you have 20 total filters of AFS. Once you get to the end of your live filter section, it'll go back and erase the first one in the cycle. So the way that you've described it, doing fixed and live, certainly would be helpful. But yeah, the fixed, you go in, you turn it on, you use the microphone to find your frequencies, and then you move away. And then there's a little option that's real small down there at the bottom that says remember fixed on reboot. And essentially what that will do is if your speaker never moves, like say it's in a presentation space and that's your presentation speaker and that's always where it's going to be, you can use your fixed filters to reduce your feedback that's coming from your room. And then every time you turn the speaker on, you don't have to rediscover your filters. They stay there until you either reset them or turn that feature off.
So one thing I just thought of, you can save presets. Could you save a preset that also saves that information, or would that be forgotten when you load the next preset?
I got to look into that. That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure
cool.
if the AFS saves over, but it should. Right now, the only parameter that will not load up in a preset or a snapshot that I know of is master volume, because we don't want you to load in and just blow your ears by having your master volume be pinned. Yeah,
because that way, if you go to the same venue, same guitar, you haven't got to redo that thing. Yeah, it'd be cool. Thomas Moore, I want the compact. Well, Thomas Moore, I've got a link to that in my description as well. You want to check that out? Kooky says, Brandon, do you use the Perform preset on the compact? This preset includes a high pass and a low pass and 2 sharp cuts at 2 kilohertz and 6 kilohertz. How did you find this EQ curve?
my guess is that that's going to be something related to something was lost in translation with the team, because that's not the curve that I put in for that. Inevitably, when we integrate it into ProConnect, it's going to get all new DSP presets and things like that. We'd like to open up the keys to the other parameters like you have in PRX One, and make it so that you have more ability to dial in your settings.
In case you don't know, like, you have your presets for channel, then you have your global preset where you've got further EQ, and there's presets there as well. So we're talking
in the
about that
PRX in the PRX One, there's presets at every stage. If you want compressor presets, there's compressor presets. There's gate presets. There's system limiter presets. There's reverb, delay, chorus presets. There's channel EQ presets, and there's input EQ presets. So anywhere you would want presets, there's presets. And that's one thing that we haven't really talked about, is there is gating and compression on each channel. So the amount of DSP that we've packed into this is pretty intense.
So there is an acoustic guitar compressor preset.
I believe there's an acoustic guitar one. There's a bass guitar one, male vocal, female vocal. I don't know off the top of my head the other ones, but yeah. If you go into your dynamic section, you should be able to see that.
Let's do it right now. Let's be brave and do it live. So PRX One, dynamics on channel 1.
Now scroll down.
Compressor.
So go to your compressor.
I didn't see that. You have to keep scrolling. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And then you've got, okay. Fantastic. Acoustic guitar. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So presets, and like I said, the goal here was to give everybody the ability to kind of get up and running without having to know how a compressor works or know how a gate works,
But then you can make changes if you want to try. I think presets are great. Like, because for me, it's like I want to use compression, but if I have a place to start from and then tweak from there, that's always a nice thing to have. So that's cool.
I like to say you can use the presets as your canvas and then dial it into your liking, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Poo Ninja's got a scoot. We're wrapping up soon, Poo Ninja. Have a great week and keep throwing those thumbs up. Yes, and also likes the DBX feedback suppression. Don't we all?
Great.
One thing for the EON One Compact 2.0 will be released in 2030. What do you know that I don't know would be cool? USB-C input. Yeah, a lot of companies aren't using USB-C, are they? Still not using it. They're still using the older connectors. Do you know why that is?
I just don't think anybody trusts USB-C just yet. There's a lot more complexity that kind of goes into anything new, whereas like USB Type A is tried and true. We all know how it works. We all know how it functions. It's easier to get through a test grid, things like that. What I will say is the compact power draw on that battery is probably much more than USB-C can provide. But something to investigate.
Kooky says, does the app have pan on each channel to use for 2 PRX Ones in stereo?
No, it's summed mono since you're pushing it out through one system, so there's no pan. If you want pan, use a standalone mixer.
And full runability and presets, that is so cool. I agree, Kooky. It's just, the mind boggles. Like, you show up to a gig and you have to reset everything every time. That's a drag. And there's always that one gig where you think, the sound was incredible at that gig. And now you can store that. That is really fantastic. Tunability, yeah. All right, cool. Well, we've come to, we've got about 3 minutes left. I've just decided this is going to be an hour and a half. I didn't even tell Brandon, so I apologize.
No, it's okay. We just kept going. And like I said, I'm happy to be here. I love, this is my passion. I love the gear. That's the whole reason that I took this job in the first place. The gear is the most fun part of the gig. And so, if I get to spend an hour and a half talking about it, then I get to spend an hour and a half talking about gear. It's better than pushing pencils and doing paperwork. So I'm more than happy to jump on.
We all have questions, and we're in the forums chatting with each other. It's so great to be able to ask you the questions and also give you kind of input as well, because it's, and I see a lot of companies doing that now. I'm really glad that you're open to do that as well. To chat with the musicians that are using the products and get the feedback, and everything just gets even better. And I can see that, like, from the the Compact was it must have been such a big hit for you, because here's another one. Just bought JBL EON One Compact and totally love it.
Yeah, the Compact has been a tremendous success for us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little sad right now because the Compact is in some component challenges. So we're in a little bit of a state of back order. But you know, once the supply chains get back to normal, you know, we won a tech award at NAMM this year for the Compact. It's just it's a great product, and you know, I'm glad that people are you know, using it as much as they are. And you know, we've seen some really cool content come out of people using the Compact and the things that are available.
Everyone's saying thank you, and
Hey,
I'll say thank you again. And hey, Brandon, I wanted to say this. I plan to cover this on my channel. So like, if you release a new app update, I'll make a quick video, depending on how long I need to make the video. Maybe I'll do some tutorials about how to use. I mean, the app is so easy to use, but I'll do like an app tutorial as well. And I want to do some more content on it. And then maybe in the future, if we get some new updates or a different product or something, you'll come back and we'll do this again. That'd be really great.
Yeah, maybe let's just looking at my watch. Maybe let's program something in around early October, because I think that we're going to have something to talk about.
Okay, well, let's book it in right now.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, thanks for having me. And again, thank you guys all for joining. I really do appreciate just seeing the questions and the feedback that come through. That's how talking to the people that use the stuff day in and day out is how you build the best product you possibly can. And really my goal in this is just to build the coolest products that I can. That's all I want to do is just build cool stuff. And so without you guys, you know, being understanding of the development process, but also just providing that feedback in the comments, and, you know, like I read the comments, I read the forums, I look at what people are saying, what people want. You know, one of the biggest requests I've seen in products like this is a mid knob on your unit, and there's a reason that we have a mid knob, is because you guys asked for it. So,
Right.
you know, when you want something, you know, let us know. I try to be active on our JBL Pro forums as much as I can. It's tough at times, you know, having a young child and also trying to run all these products that I got. But anytime, you know, I'm more than happy to have discussions and figure out how we can build the coolest stuff for everybody here.
No, well, thank you for supporting me and coming on the channel for the live stream. I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone watching. If you're watching this in the future, I hope you enjoyed it. Do subscribe and ring the bell. Brandon, go get some sleep, because you just released this thing this week. So go get some sleep, and we'll talk again soon, all right?
It's been a week. Thanks, guys.
I'm sure.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right.
Talk to you next time, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.